Hey everybody, it's me, Amelia Lady B, and welcome back to my channel, Millennial and Menopause. Today I am going to be talking about the cost of menopause in the workplace. I'm going to start this video off by reading an article. It's a really short article, about 2 pages. I'm going to put the link in the description. Written by the New York Times in the month of April, and then it was updated in the month of May. Menopause costs American women an estimated 1.8 billion in lost working time per year, according to the Mayo Clinic study that was published in May of 2023. The paper examined how hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, and a myriad of other symptoms associated with this time of life, how it affects women in the workplace. It's the largest study of its kind to have been done in the United States. Researchers surveyed more than 4,000 participants at 4 Mayo Clinic sites in Minnesota, Arizona, Florida, and Wisconsin. I was not one of those participants. Roughly 15% said they had either missed work or cut back on hours because of their menopause symptoms, which the study classified as adverse work outcomes. Those who reported the very worst symptoms were 16 times more likely to report such outcomes than those with the least severe symptoms. A little over 1% said that their symptoms had become so debilitating that they either quit their jobs or were laid off in the preceding 6 months. Though a majority of survey participants were white, the researchers found that menopause can have a greater effect on Black women and Hispanic working women. Dr. Kling said Black women tended to have more menopausal symptoms, she said, and higher percentage of Black women and Hispanic women reported adverse work outcomes related to menopause symptoms compared to white women. Researchers at the University of Southampton in England analyzed data from a longitudinal study of over 3,000 women and found that those who reported at least one disruptive menopausal symptom at the age of 50 were 43% more likely to have left their jobs by the age of 55. Dr. Ekta Kapoor, a co-author of the study, and an endocrinologist at the Mayo Clinic of Minnesota, stated, "The topic of menopause is taboo in general, but even more so at the workplace." She said, "I've heard from women that they don't want to come across as a complainer at work, or they'll bring up menopause and people will roll their eyes." The economic loss calculated by the Mayo Clinic study is likely an underestimate. Dr. Kapoor said, because the women surveyed have access to health insurance and potential treatments for their symptoms, which is not the case for many Americans. So I'm going to stop there. This article, like I said, is 2 pages long. You can read the rest of it. Further down in the article, it did mention a professor. I don't remember what school, but a professor at a university who was dealing with her menopausal symptoms, and she decided to resign from her position. She actually wanted to be kind of like demoted, not teach AP classes anymore, because she couldn't handle the rigorous information because of her brain fog. And so she ended up quitting her job because she didn't want to be fired. When I read this article, I thought this would make really good conversation, because when I think about things like chronic illness, when I was dealing with endometriosis, many times I could not work, but I had to force myself to work. And it was just very hard for me to function. Now I'm in menopause, and there are times that I don't want to get out of bed. Like, I can't get out of bed. either because I didn't get a great night's sleep, because I have some joint pain, and also because of the brain fog. Um, I'm sitting at work, I could be working, it's time to um, present some information. I'm an auditor on my job, and so once we audit, we meet with the provider, and I have to speak. So I have to present results and different things like that. And a lot of times I forget, like my brain just kind of like shuts off, or I forget the words that I'm trying to say, and it's a very frustrating place to be in. And so for women to have to quit their jobs just because they don't want to seem as we don't want to they don't want to seem like they're a complainer, and they don't want people looking at them as if they're trying to get a handout at work. And it sucks because I feel like um, women really do have, we're already underpaid, we're already not looked at as equals to men in the workplace. And so when we get to certain positions or in certain roles, we're expected to perform. And we perform, and if you're not performing at top par at all times, then it's always like, so what is she going through? Or, and you try to explain to people, and it's just not received. And the thing about it is, every woman is different. So just because what I'm going through is not the same thing as what, Sarah is going through. Sarah may be going gliding through menopause. She may not have the symptoms that I am dealing with. She might just be, doing pretty well, managing gracefully. Then you have myself, women like myself who may struggle. There are It's not a one size fits all thing, as we know. Treatment is not one size fits all, so you can't tell a woman, you can't say just go get hormone replacement therapy, because it doesn't work for everyone. Even when she tries it doesn't work for everyone. It's not created for everyone, because some women cannot use hormone replacement therapy depending on what pre-existing conditions that they may have or things that may run in their family. And that's just that. And so it forces women to quit their jobs. So when that happens, what do you think happens then? They cannot contribute to their households. And that's a big thing, especially depending on if they're a single woman or if they're a married woman. They may have a spouse that is full time employed, and that may work for their household. But here's a woman who may be single, and now what is the next step for her? Those are really tough. It's a really tough decision to make. And it's almost like it's saving face, because you don't want to come off as you're being a complainer. You don't want to come off as if you can't do the job. And then that's the thing. It makes you feel as though, am I incompetent in what I'm doing because I have brain fog? Because of something that's naturally happening to my body, and it's not something that I can take control of. So, hey guys, there were a couple of things that I forgot to mention, and I didn't realize it until I was editing this video. So, I'm going to go back to 2 points that were stated in the article, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on these topics. So, the first one is, though a majority of survey participants were white, the researchers found that menopause can have a greater effect on Black and Hispanic working women. Dr. Kling said Black women tended to have more menopausal symptoms. Higher percentages of Black women and Hispanic women reported adverse work outcomes related to menopausal symptoms compared to white women. And the second point, Dr. Kapoor stated that the economic loss calculated by the Mayo Clinic study is likely an underestimate, because the women surveyed have access to health insurance and potential treatments for their symptoms, which is not the case for many Americans. So, Black women and Hispanic women have more symptoms. So, it kind of equates to, if there's no treatment, then you're going to have more symptoms and you don't have treatment because you don't have insurance. So I want to read from you from the National Partnership of Women and Families. And they have this fact sheet. Now, this was in 2019. So some of this information, actually most of this information is still credible up into 2023. In fact, some of the numbers may have changed, and I mean may have lowered since then. So some key findings from their statistics is that nearly 14% of black women are uninsured compared to 8% of white women. Nearly 1 in 5 low-income black women is uninsured compared to nearly 1 in 6 low-income white women. Black women in the South have the lowest rates of health insurance coverage among all black women. Now, I find that very, very alarming, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. And why I say that is even until now, 2023, things are still, people have jobs, but people are still losing jobs. People may be quitting due to the crazy requirements of a lot of these jobs. A lot of people are starting their own businesses. Now, are they getting insurance? I'm not sure. Still, that's another deep dive into things as well. But the overall consensus is that black women, black people in general, but definitely black women, have are at a lower chances of having insurance coverage. I kind of also want to speak to the fact of some historical facts as well. So black women are less likely to go to the doctor. Black people in general are less likely to go to the doctor. If you're unaware, or as you know, in history, black people were never seen as humans, and this is back into the slave trades. We were not seen as human beings. We were treated as animals. We were guinea pigs in many of the research, medical research practices. If you don't know the story of Henrietta Lacks, I would really encourage you to Google it. There's books on it. There's even a movie on it. So I would really encourage you to read that. So in history, even till now, I've read research as early as in medical schools. I think there was a research study done in 2016, and it was talking to a group of medical students. They did a survey and discussing pain and black women. And these doctors, who were predominantly white, stated that black women can take more pain than white women. And that's really alarming and concerning, because then that plays a role in how we're treated in the healthcare system. So when it comes to our symptoms, when it comes to our pain levels, we are less likely to receive treatment or adequate treatment or even diagnosis, because there are doctors who feel as though we can take more than a white woman, which is very much so unfortunate. So because of the lack of in the healthcare system, or the lack of care for black women, it leads to many not wanting to go. You hear a lot of the elderly black women and men who don't want to go to the doctor because they remember, the Tuskegee experiments. They remember things happening in their childhood. There are many people who just experience things. And there's many books, many articles about the healthcare system and its treatment on black people. And so it gets passed down through the generations. And when this information is passed down, a lot of people take that on. It is very important. not an excuse not to go. It's a very hard thing. I feel like now we're more able to, well, I'll say this. This is why when I'm discussing the healthcare, when I discuss going to the doctor, seeing a therapist, and all these different things, I talk about hiring and firing your doctor. And this is something that we have not necessarily been told that we can do or that it is our job to do. Our doctors work for us, and this goes for anyone. Doesn't matter white, black, Hispanic. It goes for everyone. We can hire and we can fire our doctors. If they don't work for us, if they're not, don't seem to be providing you with the care that you need, then go to the next one. Look for the types of doctors that, or the doctors that you're looking for. If you're a black woman and you want a black doctor, then search for the black doctor. If they specialize in your type of treatment, my doctor is from Colombia. I love my doctor. And he specializes in endometriosis and fibroids and all types of reproductive health, PCOS. He specializes in that, and I appreciate his bedside manner and all those things. So I talk about this in a lot of my videos, but we have to take back our control when we're in the doctor's offices, when we're in the doctor's offices and in the hospitals. When it comes to menopause and black women, I've heard many black women just say, well, it's menopause. It's just, it's something that happens naturally. You know, my grandmother, my aunts, they had hot flashes. It just is what it is. It's just something you go through, and that's that. So they don't really receive the treatments. And I'm not sure if this is the same for Hispanic women, because like I said, Hispanic women tend to deal with symptoms as well, more symptoms than white women as well. So it may just be the fact that, hey, we've been dealing with this for generations, for years. Well, women go through it, then why do I need to see a doctor for something that'll just eventually go away? So you kind of have that mindset, so they may not receive any treatment because of that. So I want to go into the next point, where it was talking about adverse work outcomes related to menopause. So it was stating that higher percentage of black women and Hispanic women reported adverse work outcomes related to menopausal symptoms compared to white women. So work outcomes. As I stated in this article, the work outcomes were just in general, how can you fare at work? How does dealing with menopause affect you in the workplace and your ability to still perform? And so I believe that it's a little bit more difficult for black and Hispanic women, more so because we are the minorities. Really, when we I don't even want to say complain. It's not complain, because I'm not complaining about my symptoms. I'm just saying I'm unable to perform certain things, and we're looking for, like I stated in the video where I was talking about compromises and trying to come up with ways that you can do your job maybe outside of the office, or lighter workload or things like that. And so when we state any health conditions, we're probably seen as less than, like we can't be in our positions, especially if you're in corporate America and you're working with a lot of men, and you may be the only woman or the only few women who are in higher managing roles, and it's more difficult for you to express certain things, and so you either keep them to yourself and deal with it as it is, or unfortunately, in some cases, just like the professor that I mentioned prior, who had to quit her job. So these were just the few points that I wanted to bring up and share my personal thoughts on them. If you have any thoughts, please go ahead and share those in the comments. to those of you who are like myself, I'm a single woman. I am 42 years old. I started menopause at 33. I've been managing menopause since I for 8 years now, going on 9 in December. And I can't just up and quit my job. Now, I do have my side hustle, which is Millennial in Menopause, and I am growing my business and growing into coaching and creating courses and products and things like that. But I haven't come to the place where I can leave my 9 to 5 in order to work for myself, which would be a better fit for me because I'm working in what I love, but also I control the pace of work that I do and the things that I am doing. So, that being said, you don't have the side hustle, you may not have, you may love your job, love what you do, and you're just trying to manage. So some tips I can say to use if you have not, you probably already put some things into place. But for me, when I'm on the job, I work from home, but recently I was just told that we're gonna have to start going back into um, to our providers' offices to conduct our auditing, and it's literally caused me so much anxiety. I'm like, no, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do it. But some things that I will set it out. These are some things that I kind of use on my old job prior to COVID. Um, Sticky notes are your best friend. So you're going to write things down, have sticky notes to just keep you as a reminder for those ticklers. Also, use your calendar. Use your calendar for appointments. Use your calendar for just blocking out time, even for yourself, for breathing exercises and just to take a moment for yourself. Block at least 5 minutes twice in the day so that you can have those minutes. Without that time allows you to, so anxiety doesn't build. It helps you to regroup and recuperate. Have a fan if you can at your desk. So a portable fan if possible. Always have water around you so you can hydrate and keep yourself cool. You can have cold water and also room temperature water just to keep yourself again hydrated and cool. I do recommend dressing appropriately for the office. You know what your office feels like. Sometimes if you're going to environments where you're not sure, it's better safe than sorry. I would say maybe not tops like this. I wouldn't wear this in the office, but I do wear like sleeves that maybe like this thick, like a cute blouse that's a little loose fitting but loose so it doesn't feel like I'm being compressed or something. So something light fitting. I can't wear like silky type or satin material because I sweat under my arms. So don't just wear anything that will draw more attention. Bring a light sweater because during the hot flashes, you get cold after that. So bring a light sweater with you. Um, for any anxiety, if you have anxiety, bring like something that you can fidget with. They had fidget spinners, they're still around. Fidget spinners, you can buy those squeeze balls. They're soft, they're like putty or whatnot. You can use those and just practice your relaxation techniques for yourself. And I think that would cover just about enough to kind of get you through. If you have presentations, write notes down so you could always look down at your notes. So if you do have a moment of brain fog, it won't be as noticeable as it would if you didn't have anything in front of you. And so this won't overwhelm you and then bring on a hot flash because I know how that can be for me when I am overly excited or frustrated. It triggers a hot flash. So those are just some tips that I would recommend in the workplace. This can work at school as well. or in any environment, if possible, that you're in, and that you have to create a safe space for yourself. Find a therapist as well. That's always my thing. I really recommend having a therapist to talk through some of the frustrations that you're having at work, even talking with them to find out what other coping skills that you can use. Um, and yeah, that's that would definitely be some of the top things that I would say to um, have with you and to start implementing around you in your workspace so that you can work effectively. If there's anyone in your life that may be managing menopause, I would recommend that you share this video with them. And I hope that these tips helped you and helps anyone around you who are managing menopause. This is can be such a frustrating time in our lives because our bodies are going through such changes. And when you don't know what to expect from these symptoms, it can be very overwhelming. And then we are managing our day-to-day life. You know, stress brings on a lot of the symptoms as well, can make them magnified more than what they probably normally would be. Those of us who are managing surgical menopause, as we know, our symptoms came just like that. And it's like they don't stop. It's like every day you have a new something going on. So I just want to encourage you that you are not alone. Find your community. Follow me on Instagram at Millennial in Menopause, where I provide tips and hopefully some inspiration for you as you are going through life and managing your menopause. Soon, keep posted when you're following me on Instagram. Stay tuned because I will be opening up slots for coaching, and so I'm excited about that. And so my coaching will include coaching regarding menopause, nutrition, faith, well-being, and so much more. So it'll be really guided based off of what your needs are. And so that is it. Until next time, ladies, be blessed, bold, and beautiful. Bye.